Hey guys, it's Tarot and Beyond. In today's pick a card reading, we are looking at where you're at on your karmic path. So that's the reading topic we're going to be diving into that Spirit inspired me to do today. We've got three options as usual. Group number one is the Five of Pentacles. Group number two is the Three of Pentacles. And group number three is the Four of Pentacles. Interesting that they're all pentacles in that close sort of succession. I'm taking note of that, and I'm interested to see how that's connected in the readings. If you are drawn to more than one reading or you can't choose, feel free to watch all of them, take what messages resonate with you and leave the rest. If you're only drawn to one reading, just watch that one. Just follow your intuition. Trust your inner guidance, basically. And use the timestamps below to jump ahead to your chosen reading or readings. We'll see you there. All right. Hello, group number one. You chose the Five of Pentacles. So let's take a deep dive here, I want to say, into your karmic history. That's the first thing that's coming up. It feels like past energy. I'm getting that really strongly from this Five of Pentacles. This is not where you're at now. So when we're talking about your current karmic path and where you're at on it, the first thing I'm getting very, very strongly is that you've come a long way from destitution of some kind. So karmically, there was lack. There was an experience of lack. There was a perception of lack, or there was even a trajectory that kept repeating itself, pattern after pattern after pattern of not enoughness, feeling cast out, cast aside, rejected, abandoned, unworthy, not having your needs met physically or emotionally. These are the themes that you may have dealt with leading up to this point. And this stems from previous lifetimes. This is what I'm being shown. This is not from this lifetime, but it's playing out or had continued to play out in this lifetime. But currently on your karmic path, you've managed to, I'm hearing the word overcome. Okay, yeah, exactly. You've managed to overcome a lot of the discrepancies in like the filter or the lens through which you were seeing the world, and then that karmic pattern was repeating. So the way that we heal karma in the first place is by understanding. We have to understand what actions, choices, or perceptions led to the inertia of that karma continuing or even beginning in the first place. We have to understand it. Then once we do, we can accept it, and then we can change our actions, or we can change our mindset, or we can change the way we feel. Any of those things are going to help to shift the pattern and will change the results that we're getting physically. So Five of Pentacles here is really talking about you and your ability to find inner strength, the resolve to carry on. I'm hearing something about continued perseverance. Consistency was important here, especially through times of hardship and change where you felt like things were ripped out of your hands. They're telling me, okay, things felt like they were ripped out of your hands. It felt like things were out of your control. And this feels similar to victim energy. Oh, I was going to go in with the tarot. They're saying get those later. All right, let's do... They drew me to a couple of decks here for this reading. We've got the astrology, I can't remember what it's called, the astrology deck, the archetypes deck, and the traditional Rider-Waite. So let me just put that one to the side because I think we'll actually do that last. And we'll go in with the archetypes deck first, and we'll see what's going on here. So what does group number one need to know about their current karmic trajectory? Slave. Yeah, this is what I was getting. Surrendering your power of choice to the divine with complete trust. That's the light side of it. That's the empowered expression of it. That's where you're at. I'm hearing. Okay, yeah. So you're coming out of this type of slavery, confinement in regard to finances, in regard to your well-being and your worth. They're all connected here for you, group number one. The shadow attribute is giving your willpower to an external authority out of fear of making your own choices and out of fear of having those choices backfire, I'm hearing. It's like there was a wound around not trusting yourself to make big decisions. I'm hearing not trusting yourself with money. Oh, okay. Getting into energetic or financial debt, and then having to keep sort of like being in the rat race, like having to keep up with your debt and then being trapped by the weight of that, like the burden of that. Storyteller. Light attribute is the ability to experience and express life through stories and symbols. The shadow attribute is making up tales that harm others. Again, I'm seeing light attribute being prominent here. So where you're at currently is like you're narrating your story in a different way. It's like you've decided that old karmic story, that history does not define me. And even though there was a tinge of victimhood here, I gotta say, like it was the primary catalyst for this karma. The experience of being a victim, of being helpless, of not having control, and then having to make the choice to do something that was disempowering or feeling as though you only had that choice available to you. But again, it's like you have, I want to say have, present tense. Actually, that's technically past tense, but I mean like currently, the energy you're sitting in now, and the whole new timeline, the whole new trajectory of this karma is based on this new story that you're telling. And it's not like you're telling it to someone else, so that could be the case, but you're telling this new story to yourself. You have rewritten your history. I just heard you've rewritten your history. What do you mean by that, Spirit? It's like by telling a new story, you're shifting the way that you perceive yourself and where you came from. So you may have started from humble roots, but that doesn't mean that that's who you are. It doesn't define you. It doesn't define you. You define you. And as the narrator of your story, you can create yourself into whomever you want to be. You're the main character, so you get to decide. And the main character is not a victim, at least not throughout the entire story. Maybe they are at one point, but it's what they choose to do with that makes them the main character and allows them to go through this development arc, this quest for freedom. I'm hearing quest for freedom. Wow. Okay. We have warrior in reverse. So that is emphasizing the shadow attribute. Let's see. Well, let's read the light as well. The strength, the skill, the discipline, and the toughness of will, heroism, stoicism, and self-sacrifice in conquering the ego. The shadow attribute is trading ethical principles for victory at any cost, indifference to the suffering inflicted on others. It feels like your warrior spirit was tested with this karmic pattern because you felt like a victim, because you felt weak, because you felt enslaved, because you felt like you didn't have a choice. But again, this is the narrative that is changing here. The new direction is one of empowerment. She's got the lightning bolt in her hand. It feels like you're like the god of thunder, Thor, or you're Zeus. It's like you have your power in your hands now and you're taking it back. And I think a lot of this is stepping into the balanced archetype of the hero, because I even used, with the storyteller here, I used main character as like a reference point or like an archetype. And that's what I'm seeing here. You are the hero of your own story, group number one. And you like the karma here was not around somebody coming in and saving you. It was about you saving yourself. And it may have been a long, hard road in doing that. But you've become who you are because nobody came to save you. Because you went through hardship and you got yourself out of it. And I'm hearing you did a damn good job, okay? Spirit wants to recognize and give you validation on the fact that you did a damn good job of this. Even though at times it may have felt like you didn't. Maybe at times it felt like you were helpless and you really, really kind of like dug your heels in with that. That's okay. That was all part of the process here of becoming your own hero, of stepping into this empowered warrior archetype and shifting your story, changing the tune of your song, you know? Okay. Let's get the astrology cards now. I'm hearing something about pie in the sky. Pie in the sky. I think that's a term that is like referring to a wild dream. And I'm also hearing something about accusation. You may have been accused of having a pie in the sky type of mentality by others, and you may have felt enslaved by the fact that you had these dreams that you felt were not possible, or maybe that other people told you were not possible. And you've had to fight for what you believe or what you knew was right for you. Ninth house, spiritual growth. That was the whole point of this. Obviously, that's what karma's for, right? But specifically in your case, group number 1, this disempowerment and karma around that was fundamental in your spiritual growth because it changed your beliefs about what was possible, what is possible, or what could be possible. All of those things are on the table. And as you have learned to shift into your strength and develop the skills through the necessary level of discipline and consistency, it's like no amount of hard work can scare you off now. It's like you are no longer a slave to the dream, rather you work for it. I'm trying to explain what they're showing me. It's like you work to accomplish what you want. There's no more sense of entitlement, I'm hearing. That was part of the victim template. Ironically, because it's like there were experiences where you had your power completely ripped from you. And sometimes when that happens, I've seen this in I look at like the trajectory of people's karma especially when I did soul realignment readings or like Reiki energy stuff, and I was seeing clairvoyantly into people's soul streams and past lives, and I could see how the trajectory of the soul would progress and the narrative of it in a much, much larger scale. It's like, okay, what is the soul learning through these experiences in these different lifetimes? What is the story arc here? And there always is. There's a story arc. It's all connected. It's not random. And you can see, or at least I could, in having that bigger overview, what was going on. And I can see here that it's like you may have swung from one side to the other. And that's usually how it goes too. With karma, we have to balance out two sides to find the middle path, to find the balanced point. And so you went in one direction really far into feeling victimized, feeling disempowered, feeling like you didn't have a choice, and then swung too far the other way, feeling like, I've went through all of this, now everything should be handed to me. I shouldn't have to work for anything because I've suffered. And not to say that you've experienced that in this lifetime, although you could have had some of those themes echoed either through your experiences or through some of the deeper subconscious stuff, but I'm seeing like you've had full lifetimes where those experiences were played out. And there was a reason for that, because it was showing you how to find the middle path, which is where you balance the karma and where you step into your empowerment. It's the whole point of it. It's all been for your growth. It's all been for your good. And you've managed to harmonize that. You've managed to step into that power and your strength by understanding that everything is within your control. And you can release any attachment to that. So you can surrender to the path as it unfolds and as you create it, as you kind of go along here. Fire sign energy, we got confidence, optimism, passion, and bravery with Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. These could be significant signs or energies that you work with in this lifetime as part of your empowerment, because these are air could be significant too. I didn't mean to say air. I was trying to say Aries, but it came out as air signs. Aries is this warrior energy. Leo is that confidence to tell your own story and to break free and to not let ego or pride rule you. And then Sagittarius it rules the ninth house, which you have here, which is very much connected to your philosophy, your beliefs, and your ability to move beyond what you perceived was possible by seeing the bigger picture, which is what I was just talking about. Seeing the trajectory of these timelines and understanding that bigger picture so that you don't get so attached to the experiences and then identify with them and then get trapped in that you don't be a slave to your past. And that's what you've learned here, is to empower yourself through being the dictator of your own reality in a way, not being subject to some external dictator. Pisces, intimacy, intuition, and compassion. 12th house energy, strong in your chart. So again, it's past life. The 12th house is what's behind us. It's our history. It's our trajectory. And it's also this deep spiritual and profound transformation that we go through. It is our karma inherently that helps us to do that. So again, it's like, this is where you're at. You've learned some pretty major spiritual lessons, group number 1. That's funny. I almost said group 3, and then we have third house. It's probably wise because I was tapping into the energy of 3 even before I saw the card. So third house is early learning, childhood, relations, the rational mind, and communication. Communication and storyteller, it's like you're able to tap into your power through your ability to create your own narrative. But this could also be about how you use your imagination. Pie in the sky, it's coming back to me again. It's like, how do you use your imagination to create your reality? And it's based on your beliefs. It's based on what you've seen. I also just heard, what you've seen. What do you mean, Spirit? What they've seen? Oh, right. It's kind of like sometimes we learn through our experience, and sometimes we learn or we integrate or we're imprinted by what we perceive. So the way we see something, or how often we see something, or what we're surrounded by, it's like what was in your environment. You may have been surrounded by people who were enslaved to certain mindsets, or who were telling a very negative story of disempowerment, feeling like a victim. I'm hearing something about press ganged. I think that's like a sailor term where you're forced into service on the ship. So you may have been press ganged in some way, or conscripted, so to speak, as a warrior, or into a certain role against your will, or seemingly against your will. But you've learned to adapt. Because when you can't control your circumstances, what you can do is control yourself and how you perceive it. The narrative around it, that's the whole shift in this karma. They keep bringing me back to that. But the third house here, you could be stepping into a role or aligning with a role in this new karmic path, or this leg of the karmic journey, where it's time to tell this story. It could be literally in terms of sharing your experiences, sharing your wisdom, sharing what you've learned. Something about fiction could be important here as well. It could be a way for you to express archetypally what you've been through, even if that's not what you are consciously aware of. Like, you could be tapping into past life histories and then telling that story in a fictional way. Ooh, interesting. That would be cool. I could probably write some stuff. I've seen some crazy stuff in my own history and in other people's. Like, past lives are wild, and reality is often much stranger than fiction. So it's cool. Virgo, integrity, reverence, and service. And this is the new step as well. Like, this is where you're aligning to in your karmic path. It's a new way of being in service. Possibly stepping into a leadership position. I want to get a clarifier on that Virgo card. You have the Fool. It's interesting because the Fool card is like freedom and not having any plans and kind of just going with the flow. Carefree. I mean, I see that the freedom, this is where you're at in your karmic. I just heard destiny. Your karmic destiny is freedom. And that's where you're heading. That's where you're already starting to step into. But it's interesting that it's coming up with Virgo, integrity, reverence, and service. It's like maybe this is part of your service, is to release the past in this way and to free yourself. It's by doing that you fundamentally shift something in your blueprint and how that connects to the collective. Because humanity has a collective unconscious, and we are all playing out very similar themes. That's why our experiences are very unique and yet fundamentally, we all experience very similar things. That's why when I would see a karmic pattern, it was usually pretty familiar with me. The storyline would change based on the person, but the themes would remain pretty much the same. And it's the same thing with stories. Like, there's really fundamentally only a handful of like story patterns. And then it's like same thing with music notes. Like there's these like handful of music notes, and it's how we arrange them that dictates the song, the melody, the emotion behind it, the feeling that it evokes, the experience that we have. And I'm seeing this freedom and breaking free from a narrative that was quite confining. And it's by stepping back into your integrity. Oh, I love this. King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles, from the Five of Pentacles to the King of Pentacles. Come on. This is the thing. You're stepping out of the lack, the insecurity, the feeling of not enoughness, and instead fully embracing it and being empowered by and in your wealth. And yeah, this could have to do with finances for sure. I just heard sitting on your throne, and he's literally sitting on his throne, but it's about sovereignty. It's about your independence. It was the growth that you needed to endure, I'm hearing, so that you could free yourself from the slavery, the trap of lack, the trap of lack. Yeah. There could be themes in this lifetime as well about creating your own wealth, and like not being reliant on other people for it. So getting out of, like, say, for example, 9-to-5s, if that doesn't resonate with you, being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, being self-sufficient in some way, in whatever shape or form that presents itself as. If it's in a conventional job and that feels empowering and aligned, then so be it. It doesn't matter what it is, it's how it feels. And how it feels here in terms of where you're at right now and where you're moving into is more empowering than it's ever been before. Much more empowering and much more predictable in the stability. The integrity of the system has improved, I just heard. The integrity of the system has improved. Ace of Pentacles. Money, money, money. That's what I heard when I flipped it over. So this is like you telling a new narrative or a new story to yourself in terms of what you can earn, what you can grow. I just heard as well. It's not even about earning. It's like what you can grow, what you can cultivate, what you can create. Yes. And how you reap the rewards directly and indirectly from what you're creating. Knight of Wands, yeah, creative energy for sure. And this is connected to that fire sign confidence, optimism, passion, and bravery. This is the warrior spirit. You're not afraid to ride into battle anymore for yourself or to defend something that you believe in. You will speak up about it now, whereas before maybe you wouldn't have. And you will grow your own wealth based on what you believe, because you know that to not do that would be to abandon a part of yourself, and that would be to give away your power. Ooh, yeah. Three of Wands. You've got a new direction coming up, and it's heading your way, actually. It's heading your way. So it's not even you moving towards this new direction, group number one. It's heading your way. What do you mean, Spirit? They're saying that your discipline has carved a path. That path in the sand, they're saying something about a trivet or rivulets. What? Okay, what they're showing me is like this path in the sand that's kind of like carved out. It's almost like a heavy stone was dragged across the sand, and it created this like basin, or this pathway. And it's like if water is poured on one end, it's going to move through it like that. You've created the opening for this abundance to come in, but you had to like drag that heavy ball and chain across the desert. That's Five of Pentacles energy. Going without for a long period of time to prove to yourself that you would not give up on what was possible for you, and that you would not become a victim to your circumstances. You proved to yourself that you could continue despite the lack that was surrounding you in your experience. And you have overcome this karma now because you've proven to yourself that you're strong, that you have a warrior spirit, basically, which means that you have the courage, the bravery to not give up and to keep moving even when times get tough. What's that saying? When times get tough, the tough get going or something? If you know that saying, put it in the comments because I probably just butchered it. But there's something here about you having created or sustained something for a long period of time, and this built grit. It was character development. It was making you stronger. That was the point. And now your ships are coming in. All right. So increase in wealth, that's for sure. I can see that here. That this is part of the karmic path. And new experiences of what is possible for you to create and how you create. So I see increases in your creativity as well. And the path that will lead you down will be one of abundance. So follow the path of your creative expression. And it doesn't have to be through art. It's just kind of like your ability to creatively solve problems. And it's when you're in alignment with your integrity and you're operating from this anything goes type of principle with the Fool card here. It's basically like a growth mindset. If I had to boil it down, if I had to summarize it, group one, it's like you went from a like more of a closed mindset in this past karma. The experience of the karma was very closed mindset, and you're overpowering that. You did overpower that, and you've stepped into an open mindset, a growth mindset, one where failure equates to success. Because it's the foundation upon which success is built. You just learn, you don't lose, you just learn. And that's what you've mastered here. All right, group number one, that is the message that Spirit wanted to bring through in regard to your current karmic path. So in terms of where you're moving into, a lot of wealth is coming in, okay? I'm not going to pump your tires or anything. I'm just going to tell you the truth that you've worked hard to earn this. So receive that wealth and that financial stability with a humble heart, but an open hand. And know that through any time of lack, you will persevere. You will always bounce back. You will always come back stronger because you have this fighting spirit that you've developed, and nobody can take that away from you now. No amount of external circumstance will victimize you ever again because you have developed that inner power, that will, that grit, that will be with you forevermore. So I'm sending you so much love and blessings for all of this abundance to come in because you really have worked for it. So own it, literally. You bought it, you own it. Okay, group number one, lots of love. Thanks so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed the reading. Take what resonates and leave the rest as always. And if you want to dive deeper and you're looking for more personal information on anything karmic history or whatever questions or concerns you might have, or just general readings, I'm offering personal readings right now for a period of time, not sure how long, but Spirit guided me to that. You can order a reading through the link to my website. It's tarotandbeyond.com, which is in the description box below. And you can also dive deeper by going into the members section as well. If you guys are interested, you can become a member. There's 2 tiers available. Soul Tribe gets you access to ad-free weekly pick-a-card readings and the cache of all of the previous ones as well. And then the Soul Family tier gets you all of those as well as the monthly live streams where we connect one-on-one in that way. Or not one-on-one, but we connect in like a much smaller, more refined group. And we do a lot of very direct downloads, energy healing, support, and guidance in that way. So if you're interested, you can check that out. Links are below as well. Much love, guys, and we'll see you in the next reading. Bye. All right. Hi, group number 2. Welcome to your reading. You chose or you were drawn to the 3 of Pentacles here in regard to your current karmic trajectory or the path that you're on and where you've come from, where you're going. Cotton Eye Joe, where did you come from? Where did you go? 3 of Pentacles here. This is talking about you expanding business. I'm seeing something about that. So your karmic history here was in what you were trying to build in collaborations with other people. And there was some disruptions there. I'm seeing falling outs. Oh, okay. So karmically, there was, I'm getting the word destruction. There was destruction where you were trying to construct things, but they kept falling apart. you kept trying to work with people and things would fall through, or you kept trying to work on a particular project and it wouldn't come to fruition in the way that you had hoped for. It's like I'm getting the energy of disappointment. And the karma around this feels initially like it was teaching you, it has been teaching you about who to trust. And not just in regard to other people, but also in regard to your sense of self-confidence in your ability to trust yourself to follow through with things. Something about consistency or perfectionism could be part of this pattern as well. Procrastination is like the opposite side of that, or it can be one of the constraints of perfectionism. And then putting either too much stock in other people and their abilities or their validation even, or not enough, like not trusting other people, not asking for help when you needed it, not relying on collaboration and trying to do it all yourself. I think that there were two sides to this because that's usually how karma goes. It's not just one side of the karma that we play out. It's both because we need both. We explore the polarity, we explore the duality to be able to integrate the lesson, to be able to find the middle path, the middle ground. And that's where the equilibrium comes from. So yes, feels to me, group number 2, like you've come quite a long way. I'm going to do the opposite. In group 1, I did the archetype cards first, and then I did these, but for you guys, we're doing it backwards. So there could be something about like doing something in a different order or in a different way than you did in the past that is helping to shift this karma. 6th house, establishing a foundation, health, daily life, and practical details. And yes, the 6th house can have to do with work, your daily routine in terms of work, who you work with, your colleagues, your coworkers, how consistent you're being on a daily basis with what you're trying to build. So yeah, I can see the connection here already. Capricorn, ambition, realism, and methodical steps. You see, this is what Spirit's bringing through very strong here in this karmic pattern. It's like you were learning this lesson about how to build, literally or figuratively, how to build something through your consistency, through your dedication, through the right approach and the right support, the right connections or networks. All of this was important. Venus, yeah, it's relationships with other people. Give and receive love, find value, and see beauty. So this is partially about you finding your own value, appreciating your own value, having your value appreciated by the right people, collaborating in the right relationship connections, because Venus does rule relationships. So it's all what I was getting just from the 3 of Pentacles. It's confirmation here from Spirit around this. And the trajectory that you're on now is a path of great value, because you are knowing unequivocally, I just heard, unequivocally what you're worth. Skill development has been part of this as well. So your karmic path was heavily laden with the burdens of work, is what they're telling me. It was like you really had to put in the work. They're showing me the 8 of Pentacles clairvoyantly. It's like you really had to sit down and dedicate yourself to doing something over and over and over again to master that skill. And it was heavy because it required a lot of you. And there was a lot of self-doubt that I'm feeling behind the scenes there. So like you were working at things, trying to prove your worth. And that was not the right approach. And that was part of the unbalance, or what you were exploring in the duality of this karma was like, instead of trying to work to prove your worth and to get the validation and the approval and the support that you were seeking, instead, this is like you trusting your own skills and your own ability to be consistent and your own ability to follow through and your own ability to see the fruits of your labors because you did it for you rather than for anyone else. North Node, destined to have. I'm hearing empire. I just heard empire, an empire that you are destined to have, destined to build. And it's an empire built on the back of your own self-worth, your own sense of yourself, and the work that you've put in to develop this skill. It feels like this was something you were not naturally talented at or gifted at, but it was something that you were drawn to nonetheless. And this was part of the karmic path, was that you had to learn how to do this thing, whatever it was. Mastering money mindset, I'm hearing as well, something about money mindset. That's a skill. Oh, that's what Spirit just said. They said that's the skill. And you have trine here, angelic support, harmony, and perfect flow. This is where you're moving into. Let me see this one underneath. Aries, independence, bravery, and passion. I see this one too. Scorpio, integrity, exposing, purging, and renewing. Okay. So you're getting a lot of support now, and you're able to receive a lot more because you've kind of like proven to yourself and to the universe, energetically, karmically, balancing out some things here where you're no longer dependent on other people for approval or for a particular level of support. Like you're not needing to be hyper independent anymore. I think this is part of this as well. You can rely on yourself, and you know that you've built a secure foundation, but neither are you dependent on other people for anything, and you can receive support when it's needed or when it's warranted from the right people, and trust yourself to discern who those are. But I'm seeing a lot of this here was connected to your ability to prove to yourself that you could work for something and develop the skill over time to become successful at that. Because the North Node also, before I look at these cards, the North Node is an area that we are developing into. It's not something that we're familiar with. It's what we've set up for ourselves that we've wanted to become, but it's not something that we necessarily have experience with. And so we do have to kind of start from scratch a little bit. And that's what I'm seeing this karma was connected to. Mystic in reverse. Okay, so shadow side of this being highlighted, but you're developing into the light is what they're telling me. The light attribute is revels, but it wanted to say reveals. That's why I couldn't say it first, because it wanted to come out of my mouth as reveals. So something's being revealed here. Revels in intimate union with the divine. Shadow attribute, delusional rapport with the divine. I'm going to put it up right just so I can actually read it. But this may have been the skill that you were working on developing. Like your ability to connect to the divine, to discern, to be able to trust your intuition. And how you use that for work, I just heard. Some of you may be in lines of work that you need your instinct or your intuition quite a lot, especially in collaboration with other people. I just heard that. Especially in collaboration with other people, knowing who to trust, because you can trust yourself to discern. Gossip. Yeah, exactly. Like, you can feel energetically if somebody's not in integrity. This was the skill. Wow. Okay. And it took some time. They just showed me the hourglass here. And they're saying something about synchronicity. So if you've been seeing hourglasses, or you start seeing them after this, it's an indication from Spirit that you, in divine timing, have been working through this new order of things, creating balance in your ability to trust yourself, they're saying. Okay. Gossip. Light attribute awakens consideration for the feelings of others, honoring trust. Yeah, this is all about trust. Shadow attribute thrives on the power of passing on private or secret information, betraying confidences, and even trying to say that sentence, my throat got a tickle in it. Yeah, so it's like you're overcoming this tendency towards attracting people who had nothing but negative things to say about you, and then internalizing that, and it like crystallized into this distorted perception of yourself, which resulted in perfectionism and I think hyper-independence or dependency, depending on which side of the pendulum you were on in any given lifetime. Because like I said, it swings both ways, and then you find the middle ground. This is the lifetime where you're finding the middle ground, where you can, you can trust yourself to discern, and you can rely on your skill. Monk or nun. Wow. Okay. Lots to do here with like your relationship to the divine and your consistency or dedication to that, and building your relationship with your faith. So it did come out reversed. So that's the shadow side. But the light attribute is selfless devotion and single-minded dedication to spirit. The shadow attribute is negative judgment of the physical world and excess piety. And I like that in the Three of Pentacles, this is a Mason working in the church, working to build. I'm hearing enclave. An enclave? Is that like an area of a church? I don't have my computer out, so I would look that up, but I don't, it's in the other room. But yeah, there's, even like masonry, that could be significant here as well. It's like esoteric or secret societies, religions, spirituality. It's like these were the things that you may have explored in your karmic history leading up to this lifetime, because this one does feel like it goes not too far back, like maybe 2-3 lifetimes for you, this particular pattern we're talking about, group number 2. But it's about your dedication to your spiritual development and how that relates to your work, like what you physically do on a daily basis. Because when you think of a monk or a nun, it's like this, you get up in the morning, you live a very pious life, you're praying, you're worshiping, you're chanting, you're, going about your daily routines. It's this very sort of like regimented type of spirituality. And that somehow here, applying to your life, your ability to trust yourself and to discern what relationships were right or wrong for you. Oh, this is one that I drew. The jailbird. It came up in reverse, so again, shadow. Light attributes are docile, contemplative, compassionate to others' struggles, and seeking freedom. Shadow attribute feels helpless, frustration, anger at the world, aggressive, or complacent. There may have been struggles in this karmic pattern for you, group number 2, in maintaining balance with the physical reality. Because I'm seeing that here, Venus is very much to do with pleasure, what you value, the physical sensory experiences of life. You may have had lifetimes as a monk or nun, and I've seen this karmically, especially when I did Akashic readings full time. I saw a lot of that, not like excessively, but I would, every so often there'd be a client who lived a life as a monk or a nun, and we'd have to look at that karmic lifetime to undo some of the excess piety or the shame that was internalized or the rejection of the physical world. And then there would be other lifetimes where they'd go into like these really sort of like debauchery, like, the pendulum always swings both ways. We have to explore both sides to be able to integrate it. And I'm seeing that here. It's like you've managed to find the balance between feeling trapped by the physical reality or the rejection, feeling trapped by the rejection of the physical reality, and knowing what you want to build and honoring that, and then working toward that and not letting any outside influences interfere with that in a negative way. Okay, let's get some clarifiers here. So clarify the mystic, please, for group number 2, Spirit. Clarify the mystic. 5 of Cups. I heard emotional development when I held up the card and looked at it. So this is part of your mystical path here. This is part of the karmic trajectory, is learning to master your emotions. My bracelet hit on the table. Maybe even being able to recover from something that was shocking or that took you by surprise and left you feeling disappointed. Yeah, because that's the disappointment energy. I was picking up on that just from the 3 of Pentacles early on in the reading, and here it is. So yeah. 4 of Cups. I just heard not knowing which direction to put your focus in. Ooh, yeah. I can kind of see that with the 4 of Cups. It's not usually a message I get from this card, but that's new to me, but I like that. I like that sort of interpretation of it. Thank you, Spirit. Not knowing which direction to put your focus in, who to believe, who to trust, whether you could believe in yourself or not feeling like you could accept certain offers because of what had happened in the past in terms of disappointment, your hopes being dashed, things falling through, working for something and then not seeing the reward or not getting appreciated properly. Yeah, I'm hearing negative, something about negative feedback. But this was all part of you determining for yourself your own value, perceiving yourself clearly, I'm hearing, and working toward that. Oh, 10 of Pentacles. And I held it up and it was 1555 on the recording time. So fives, repeating sequences of fives. Actually, those have been coming up a lot lately for me, but it's a herald of a period of great change, adaptation, transformation, and movement. And so this is you moving forward in this legacy of wealth that you've been building here, spiritual wealth. And that also translates to physical wealth too. DNA could be important here. I just heard legacy or lineage, legacy of your lineage, the Hanged Man. Contemplative. Look at that. And the Hanged Man, that's what he does. He contemplates. I'm hearing making necessary sacrifices. Not sacrificing yourself, but making necessary sacrifices to stay dedicated on this path. That's the empowered side of this. That's the positive side of this karma. And when you do that, it leads you to the building of this legacy. I'm hearing adherence to principles. And I'm hearing it's the principle of the thing. It's the principle. Yeah, having integrity in your principles is very important here. So not degrading your integrity in any way. Okay. The Empress reversed. They said turn it around. Oh, it was meant to be upright then. Yeah, it feels a lot to me, group number 2. Like you are meant to enjoy a soft life because you've been through some hard stuff. You've had to work really hard. You've had to wait for it, and not in a good way. Like, what just came into my head there? It was like, legend, wait for it, dairy. Maybe there's something that you've been working towards that felt like it was out of reach. It was like mythical or legendary, or it was beyond belief in some way, but you've managed to build a routine that connected you to this part of you that became that. It's like maybe it felt like your psychic abilities were really far out of reach, but as you remained dedicated and disciplined, but also not too rigid and not too dogmatic or not too unhealthily principled, you've managed to develop this skill and to shift into this frequency of receptivity where you can receive what you need through this inherent sense of self-worth and valuation in your own skill and the strength it took to develop that, to build this long-term wealth. I want to get one more 5 of Wands, 2 more then, 7 of Cups. Let me see what's on the bottom of the deck. The World. Karmic completion is the name of the game here. And it's about coming full circle for you, group number 2. You needed to understand the much larger implications of what you were developing into here, who you were becoming, your own self-worth, your freedom, your skills, and your discernment. Like, it really, at the core of all of this, yes, it's to do with your worth. Yes, it's to do with your work. Yes, it's to do with your talents, your skills, your abilities, your relationships. Those are all part of this. But at the core of it, I think the fundamental sort of roots of this karmic pattern are connected to your discernment and your ability to trust yourself. And at the higher level, the reflection of that is your ability to trust spirit and the higher power and the divine order of the universe. So that you could see the value in everything, even if it presented as something that you didn't want, or the removal of something that you did want, or any kind of conflict, internal or external. You've mastered this skill of emotional development. And now what this is leading to, what the whole point of this was, is for you to be you unequivocally, is what I just heard. To be you unequivocally. Meaning that you honor the essence of your humanity and your divinity simultaneously. And that you apply that in everything you do on a daily basis, living an intuitively guided life. From the first moment that you get up in the morning, feeling into what feels right for you that day and honoring and trusting that. And not basing your choices on the expectations of the world around you or the perceptions of others. This is really fundamentally about you knowing you and then doing that every day in whatever form that happens to take. And on one day, it might be on one side, and on the other day, it's on another. And that's okay, because this whole process for you was about integration and harmony between those two polarities. So let me see if there's anything else here that they want to bring through. Something about having your feet on the ground, like a practical approach balanced with this higher-minded belief system, this understanding of the spiritual, the non-physical, and then being able to anchor that into the physical through what you do every day. Whether it's meditation practices or divination arts or through whatever you're doing. They just showed me somebody eating food. That seems unrelated, but that's what they just showed me, a flash of somebody eating something. Maybe it's about what you consume energetically, the way that you interact with life in that way, what you allow to integrate into you or internalize. Because oftentimes spirit will use everything symbolically. And I think this was part of your development too, like being able to interpret the symbolism. That's what the mystic was talking about. Being able to interpret that symbolism accurately for you. Maybe even for other people. For the world, who knows? But there's something here about this spiritual skill balanced with the physical. It's like you've managed to create a stable bridge between those two polarities, or those two dimensional experiences, the third dimension and the higher dimensions as well, and integrate them through you, which I think is pretty cool. It's going to lead to a lot of stability in your life because you can choose wisely. Yeah, you choose wisely. All right, group number 2, that's the message. They also just said, don't let your fear get you down. That was part of this karmic path as well, or it could be an aspect that you're still overcoming or still working with. Not letting your fear get you down or distort how you perceive things or how you access your own truth. Yeah, the fearless approach, they're saying that's the one that they want you to embrace, the fearless approach. And then you move forward much more quickly, they're saying. Okay. Follow the path of your destiny. Check out your North Node in your chart too. I think that would be helpful. Rahu, is it Rahu or Ketu? And is that Vedic? I can't remember. I'm not an astrologer, but yeah, something about that North Node is going to be significant there. Look at the house that it's in, the placement. What is that for you? What degree is it at? What's the house? What's the sign? Yeah, that could be helpful. All right, guys, I think I'll leave it there. I could probably go on, but I'll leave it there. So I hope this reading was helpful. Just take what resonates and leave the rest as always. But it feels like this karmic pattern is really, really liberating you into becoming an embodied spiritual being, having a human experience, and creating a lot of luxury and wealth for yourself in that. So I'm sending you lots of love. Thank you so much for being here on the channel. If you're looking to dive deeper and get more personal details, I am offering personal readings right now for a short period of time or for a limited time. I don't know how long, but if they're still available at the time that you're seeing the video, you can click on the link to my website. It's tarotandbeyond.com, which is in the description box below, to check out the tarot shop and see what options are available there for you. And if you want to dive deeper on the channel and get the additional readings, we also have memberships, which you can also find linked in the description box below. Soul Tribe tier gets you access to ad-free additional pick a card readings weekly and the entire cache of the previous ones, as well as the ability to submit topics that you want to see in terms of the members only readings. And then Soul Family gets you the live streams as well as the additional pick a cards. So lots to offer there and explore. If you're interested, all the information's in the description. Sending you lots of love, guys. Thanks for your support of my work here on the channel, and we'll see you in the next reading. Bye. All right. Hello, group number 3. You chose the 4 of Pentacles. Oh, ooh, okay. I felt like energetically, as soon as I stepped into your reading and just talking about this card, I feel like I stepped into a swamp or like a bog. It's like a heavy, dense type of energy. I mean, yeah, that can be 4 of Pentacles. And I just started to get brain fog as well. Like I can feel this heaviness sort of clairsentiently descending over my auric field. So this is like a heavy burden or heavy, dense, foggy. Yeah, I don't like that energy, but it's coming up for a reason. So don't worry. This is obviously connected to your karmic path, but yeah, it feels like it's been quite slow as well. Like it slowed you down. 6 of Cups just like strode out of the deck. It is so strong right there. Okay. I'm almost also feeling flustered, and I wasn't feeling that way in the other 2 readings. And it's almost like the result of the heaviness. It's like it's pressing on me and it's making me not think clearly. This may have been something that has existed for you since childhood. The 6 of Cups can have to do with your memories of the past and the security or the foundation of your life from when you were a child. Things may have been unstable, which may have resulted in you feeling heavy and dense in this way, or dissociating a little bit almost. It's like, but like a heavy form of dissociation, like maybe freeze response, nervous system dysregulation. Knight of Swords. This karma is very physical, but it's in the mind too. Interesting. Yeah, it's definitely in the mind. 8 of Swords. And it feels like you can't move forward, or you can't see your way forward, or you're not clear on things because things feel heavy and dense and stuck. What is this teaching you? 6 of Wands, victory. It's teaching you to overcome the past, I just heard. Right, we started with a 6, we're ending with a 6 here in this line. I just saw 222 on the recording time. It's teaching you how to balance out the past. They said integrating, and they said family systems. Yeah, this is like reparenting or doing individuation work, integrating, doing some psychological healing here as part of this karmic pattern. Group number 3. Bringing light to something, lightening the load, I just heard. There's a lot here to do with childhood. Look at the child here. Yeah, there's a lot here to do with your childhood. So this karma started in this lifetime, in childhood. Due to insecurity, they're saying lack of grounded approach in parenting, I'm hearing. Something about the way your parents parented you that was not secure or stable. Maybe they were kind of all over the place, or finances may have been an issue, or something about your environment was not stable in some way. And part of this karma is you bringing light to that and healing yourself, reparenting yourself. Yep, self-healing. I am hearing therapy. So communication in therapy or therapeutic techniques could be important in healing this karma. Recovery, I'm hearing something about recovery. Addiction may have also been an issue if your parents had addictions, whether it was substances or other things, behaviors, even that could have created a root instability as well in the home. But you're moving on from that. 6 of Swords. Moving forward. You got a lot of 6s here. 6, 6, 6. This is like that energy of harmonization. And 6s can have to do with family and the home. So yeah, you've come through a lot, I'm hearing. Wow. Group number 3. Ace of Wands though, but you're coming out strong. I'm hearing you're coming out better somehow. You know, sometimes when we're talking about childhood trauma and insecurity and things like that, it can feel almost invalidating or flippant to say, you know, oh, but you're so strong, or it made you strong. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Because I remember, like, I've been through some pretty traumatic stuff in my childhood myself. And I remember my therapist telling me, no, it's not about being stronger. It's about the fact that you are resilient enough to have survived. Like, these coping mechanisms that don't work for you now karmically helped you at one point to survive. So they're not bad, but they don't serve you anymore. And being able to move on from that and going through these different stages, I'm being called to talk about this. So like, there's the denial stage early on where you're still in that coping mechanism and you don't even see the trauma for what it is, because maybe that's all you've ever experienced, right? How do you know what's healthy if you've only ever been in unhealthy territory or unhealthy experiences? So there's that. And then there's the second stage where you start to bring awareness to this. You start to understand it a little bit better. You start to see a bit of the bigger picture or the context. And that can be through your own self-introspection work or through working with someone else and having that context provided to you from the outside. And then it can lead to a lot of a shift in your identity. It's like you start to become more identified as a survivor or even as a victim. Maybe you have to go through that phase as well, understanding how you were victimized and then shifting into the survivor mentality. But then there's another stage after that where you come out of the survivor and you realize you can thrive now. And that's what I'm seeing, is you moving fully on from whatever happened to you in the past or whatever your roots, your environment were, however you were raised. It's like you're not, part of the trajectory that you're on karmically is to not deny it, but not carry it as a burden on your back either. It's like that was you, but it's not who you are. It doesn't have to be who you become or who you grow into either. High Priestess, deep spiritual wisdom that you've gained from this is extremely valuable, extremely valuable. But there was stuff that was hidden from you that you didn't see for a long time. And you had to discover this blindfolded. You had to walk through this path heavy and burdened and laden and unclear. And you still managed. You still managed, group number 3, to come out of it. Somehow you did. And that is where I think this saying of that you are a survivor and that you are strong, that it made you stronger, is somehow true. But I don't mean to invalidate in that way, because you can have become stronger from this and it also could have weakened you. Those two truths can exist simultaneously, that it did weaken you and it also made you stronger. And it's at the same time too, ironically. But now it's like you can take both of those and integrate them in some way and then release anything that you don't need and just move on. That's what it feels like. You're just moving on. You're moving on with your life and I'm hearing starting over, starting fresh, releasing the heaviness, being able to see things clearly. Literally, the Sun card is about illumination and seeing things clearly and healing. So it's the lightness of being too. It's literally like that energy I was feeling right from the beginning. It was like so heavy and dense and foggy and I couldn't see or think clearly. I started to get flustered, the nervous system acting up. And it's like now you're strong and stable and you've got this new beginning here. Really strong. You can rewrite the past. You can heal beyond time and space by tapping into what came before and integrating it in a way that you don't have to keep it compartmentalized and then therefore still bogging you down. Trine, angelic support, harmony, and perfect flow. You have had a lot of angelic support in this karmic path. 10th house, structure, discipline, life mission, accomplishments, and career. This could be connected to what you end up doing for work. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if many of you became therapists. I mean, like, not all of you, obviously, but like, you could be with the experience that you've had, or healers of some description, or psychics even, like with the owl here. You're very wise because of what you've been through, because you had to grow up from a really young age is what it feels like here. Like you had to mature quickly to cope with your surroundings, with your environment, with the lack of security, to protect yourself. And that wasn't a good thing for your child self, but it is something that you can extract the value from as your adult self, if that makes sense. So we're not denying the detriment of what occurred, but neither are we denying the value of what you've managed to alchemize from that. Taurus, trust, patience, and sensuality. I see a lot of healing in you, like, and you, Mercury as well on the bottom. Think, learn, network, and communicate. A lot here to do with communication. This could be something that you do for a living, or that's part of your life purpose. It's part of this karmic path I'm hearing. Pioneer in the reverse, that's the shadow side. Compulsive need to keep moving on. Oh, that's Six of Swords energy. Compulsive need to keep moving on. You could have been running from your past. But even that karmically was part of this development. I'm hearing something about sheer will, the sheer will to keep moving. I think there's good and bad in that. The light attribute is passion for doing and creating what has not been done before. I just saw 1111 on the recording time. Activation coding for sure. Awakening, definitely. But what I was going to say is that I feel like you are the karmic curse breaker in your family, group number 3. Like, the buck stops with you, right? The trauma doesn't carry on past you. What do they call that? I said curse breaker. That sort of sounds right or feels right, but there's a different term for it. You're breaking the chains. Yeah, something about not carrying forward that karma or that trauma. Because in this case, in this reading, in your group, number 3s, it's synonymous, like karma and trauma. We could interchange those words in your case because they're connected here. It's like the same thing. The trauma was the karma. And it wasn't like karma that you created. Okay, so karma is not always like what you've done and then what it results in. It is that, yes, it can be about cause and effect, but sometimes there's karma that's inflicted on us too. And you incarnated into a heavily laden karmic line. Like your lineage, your ancestry, your family history was laden with karma, laden with this trauma that kept getting generationally passed down. You're the generational curse breaker, though. They keep saying the buck stops with you. So you're the cycle breaker. Thank you, Spirit. It just came out of my mouth. Sometimes it just channels out, right? But I was trying to find that phrase, cycle breaker. You're the cycle breaker. Ooh, the martyr, but it's in the upright. So that's the light attribute. The shadow is addiction to self-pity. The light attribute is learning the transcendent nature of service to oneself or a cause. So you are able to transcend this martyr archetype of like shouldering the burden of this trauma, this karma for your family, while at the same time, it's like, how do I say this? It's like you're not a martyr to the cause, but you were martyred in a way, and you're taking back your power in regard to that by healing yourself. So it's like you're not necessarily doing it for the family line, you're doing it for you. And that's the whole point of this. But in doing that, you do become a martyr for this cause because it's like what you suffered becomes part of the healing for the entire line. Yeah. Mother and in the shadow. So this may have been a distortion or a karmic line in the mother, or a karmic wound in the mother, or the mother's and the matriarchal line of the family. The shadow attribute is smothering or abandoning children, instilling guilt in children for becoming independent. The light attribute is nurturance, patience, unconditional love, joy in giving birth to life. I'm getting, again, this same message here about reparenting yourself, like remothering yourself, and becoming independent in your ability to rely on you to heal, to create the inner security that you need to trust yourself, to regulate your nervous system, to feel stable in life, to be able to accomplish your goals, to forge the way forward, not out of fear or escapism, but out of necessity to your deepest core desires and needs. More importantly, needs. Like in this case, it's like your needs were not met from an early age. Whether it was your physical needs, your emotional needs, I'm hearing something about neglect. And that's not always like your parents' fault too. So they can only meet you as deeply as they were met, as they were nurtured, as they were cared for, as they learned to do. But that's how trauma gets passed down generationally. Is like we can't teach what we don't know. And we can only pass on what we do know or what we've experienced. And sometimes that's not healthy patterns. And we either grow from it or we stay trapped in it. And it feels like the people that came before you were unable to grow from it. And your role was to step in and say, I'm not going to martyr myself like completely, but I'm going to take on some of this burden and I'm going to shift it. Because they keep saying the buck stops with you. So that mother wound is not carrying forward any longer. This could be about creating structure and discipline in your relationship with yourself as well, because that takes a lot of trust and patience. Virgin. Shadow attribute, fear of intimate union. Light attribute, maintaining symbolic purity of heart and spirit. Virginity or sexuality may have been something involved here as well. I don't know how it's connected, but they're showing me that with the Ace of Wands, which can be a phallic symbol. I mean, if you just look at that wand, what that look like to you? I know what it looks like to me. And virginity here. So there's something about, and we do have Taurus with sensuality. So there's something about the purity or the experience of that purity, the perception of that, and coming back into your innocence. Yeah. Yes. Virginity, innocence. Oh, you know what? Martyrs and virgin also makes me think of, like the virgin that's put up for sacrifice, like the purest innocent one is the lamb for the slaughter. But that's not what you're carrying forward. The whole point of this karma was for you to, it's like healing and embracing your purity, your innocence. I'm hearing calling that back. And they also gave me the word cultivating and calling back your own innocence by healing and remothering yourself. Alchemist. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Did I say alchemy? I can't remember if I did or not, but that's the energy here. The light attribute, transformation of base motives and goals into golden wisdom. Did I not say wisdom? I told ya. And alchemist shadow attribute is misuse of the power and knowledge that come through spiritual practice. I don't feel that one here. That's not relevant, they said. In this case, it's the transmutation or the alchemy of this pain, of this trauma, of this karmic bloodline into the retention or the development or the reclaiming of your innocence and your virginity and your purity, of your childlike nature that lives within you always, and having that mother archetype step forward within you to nurture that innocence in you back to full health. That's the point of this. And this is where you're moving into. And the spiritual wisdom you've gained from this whole process is completely priceless. It's so invaluable because it's a skill. It's a soul level skill that you're developing. And not only that, but it does have benefit for the entire generational karmic line. When you heal karma in yourself, when you heal trauma in yourself like this, there's a 7-year gap. I mean, it's not even 7 years, it's 7-generation gap. 7 years back, or why years? Okay, years could be, say, 7 years or 7 years old could have been a significant age for you, group number 3. Or 7 years, 7-year gap. I'm hearing something about 7-year gap. Okay. What I was trying to say was 7 generations back, and then 7 generations forward as well. And you may have done this healing in 7-year increments. Ultimately, you benefit from this, and so does everyone in your karmic line. Whether they deserve it or not, they do benefit from it. They will have to serve out their own sentences in terms of what they have to learn from this trauma or from this karma, because everything that happens is for a reason. And that can also feel invalidating to hear when you've been through trauma. Let me tell you that also. When people say everything happens for a reason and you've just gone through something horribly traumatic, it's like, no, fuck that. But you get to a stage where you can integrate that truth as well. It's not one or the other. They're both true. Things suck and happen in horrible ways, and there is meaning to it, especially the meaning that we choose to take from it. I think that's the most important thing here, is what we choose to garner from the experiences, whether they were good or bad. And I think this is the wisdom. The wisdom to know the difference, the wisdom to integrate both. It's the spiritual maturity process that you've been going through here. And this is the trajectory you're on, is this healed, healthy, happy inner child. And they're showing me a baby right now, and I almost want to cry. I can feel it in my heart chakra. The love and the depth of caring that you've managed to or will be developing for yourself here, but I feel like you've done a lot of work so far, group 3, is quite profound. And it's beautiful. The strength in that softness is palpable, and it's leading you to victory. An internal victory that took a lot of time and patience and sensitivity and connection, deep connection to yourself, building back this trust so that you could release the burden and see things clearly and heal. But you've done it. And I want to congratulate you on that. And I want you to know that no matter where you're at in this trajectory, you are free now to explore this reality with peace, with genuine interest and curiosity for life again. And you don't always have to be on guard anymore. It's safe to relax now. You can trust yourself to defend and to protect as needed without the heaviness or the burden of that past and those coping or survival skills. You will always have those there if you need them. Your body's very intelligent. It will do what it needs to protect you. But you can trust your higher mind now, this higher principle, the divine mother within you, to protect you in a much larger capacity than that you were capable of, or than that was possible when you were young. So you carry your young self with you now, but they are healed, as are you. And this is not just a reading. This is also a blessing that I'm placing here for you, if you so choose to accept it. A blessing of this healing on this karmic path. May you receive it with open arms, and may it nurture and heal your heart for all time, for your greatest and highest good always. Okay, guys, that's the message that Spirit wanted to bring through in regard to your karmic path. Wow. This one really hit deep for me. This was almost felt like a personal reading for me. So if you're in this group and you're resonating with it, first of all, you're not alone, because this is a group of souls that have gone through this. And I think it's helpful that we know that we're not alone in that there are others going through something similar. And I also want you to know that I understand as well, that I'm right there with you, and we're getting through it together and independently. So I'm sending you all my love and all my blessings for this very prosperous, healthy, secure inner child that will bless you throughout the rest of your life and your karmic lineage. So lots of love, guys. Thank you so much for being here on the channel. I hope you enjoyed or resonated with the reading. Just take what resonates and leave the rest. If it's not for you, it's not for you. If it is, you will know, and you will receive it, and it will be healing. And if you guys want to go deeper or you're looking for more personalized healing or guidance, I am offering personal readings right now. The options are 20-minute and 45-minute formats in video form. And you can order your reading through the link in the description box below to my website. It's tarotandbeyond.com. And if you want to dive deeper on the channel, we also have memberships. There's 2 tiers available. There's additional pick a card readings weekly and live streams with additional healing and channeled messages. You can check all that information out. It's linked in the description box below. And I hope you're enjoying the work here on my work here on the channel. Love you guys, and we'll see you in the next reading. Bye.